All right. So hi, it's Tiffany. Sorry if I look weird. I don't have any makeup on, just my eyebrows. Um, but yeah, I wanted to be serious for a minute. I wanted to broach this topic that I'm sure you saw was being battled out on my Facebook page. And it is concerning my boyfriend Michael and his birth giver. I refuse to call her his mother because she doesn't deserve to be called mother in my eyes. And, if Michael is offended by me saying this, he can tell me that, and, I will apologize to him. I will, um, I guess, retract that statement if it bothers him at all. But here's my problem. So if you followed me on Facebook, you know that about a month before Michael and I got together, he had a car accident. A semi hit him as he was driving home, and he was injured. So, in the last 2 years, he has had several surgeries to do with that injury, and he was in the process of suing the company over the semi. He reached a settlement. He got his settlement. Now, what did he do? He bought himself a home. Now, like I said, there's been a bit of contention because I didn't like the location of the home. But he bought a home. He bought a nice trailer home in a nearby town. Now let's keep in mind this is 2025. The economy is crap right now. And you have a 36-year-old man who owns a home, owns a car, and has a steady job. That is literally the American dream in 2025. I'm sorry if you can hear noise outside. They're doing lawn work outside of my apartment. So, I helped him move and everything. So the one thing Michael kept telling me was, Tiffany, I want my mother to come live with me. I want to move my mother in. Now, his mother lived in Colorado. His mother is from Colorado. He's originally from Colorado. And how he got to Texas is interesting. It wasn't like, oh, I just want to sprout my wings and move down south. No, what happened? When Michael was 12 years old, he was placed in the foster care system. CPS took him and his two sisters out of the care of his birth giver. Why? Because she chose substances over her flesh and blood. Now, Michael has stressed to me that in the 7 years that he was in the foster system, because he went in at 12 and aged out of the system at about 18 or 19 years old, he said that his mother was fighting for him and his siblings. But I honestly fail to believe that because in 7 years, you couldn't prove that you were clean, had a stable home, and could provide for your children. You couldn't do that in 3 years. I mean, not in 3 years, in 7 years. And the thing is, I believe Michael's two sisters are younger than him. So they were in the foster care system even longer than he was. Now, keep in mind, his two sisters do not communicate with the birth giver. They do not have any relationship that I know of whatsoever with her. And you will see why shortly. As if what I just said is not reason enough. So, Michael's gone through all this. I've met his mother. I've met that woman. My outlook on her was fairly dim when I first, met her, knowing the background story that I just disclosed. And that filter has gotten dimmer and dimmer and bleaker the more time has gone on. Now, before Michael even reached his settlement in this whole, back surgery thing, which also gives him problems to this day and will likely the rest of his life, um, she was nagging him for money. She was begging him for money. And like I said, I didn't want to interfere at first because, that's a person and their birth giver. And to preface this, I know I've spoken a lot about my home life and my mother, me having to take care of my mother when she was sick. But here's the thing. My mother had her quote unquote vices. But my mother wasn't addicted to any drugs. My mother quit drinking completely when I was about 6 years old. Both cold turkey. She quit smoking cold turkey when I was 10. Um, she loved to play scratch offs, like pick three, lotto, all that sort of stuff. Um, bingo. But here's the thing. That didn't consume my mother. That didn't overtake her life. I always had a roof over my head. I always had food in my stomach. I always had a bed to sleep in. I always had clothes on my back. I never at any time in my childhood did I wonder, will I eat today? Will I have clean clothing today? Are we in danger of being evicted? Are we in danger of not having a home? I never had, ever had that as a worry because, when in the early years of my life, both of my parents, maintained separate homes, but both my parents had their own homes, their own cars, and both worked. So if I wasn't with my mother because mom was at work or whatever, I was at my father's house until my mother got off work or whatever. Either or was taking me to school. Anything happened with me at school? If they can't get a hold of Tiffany's mom, well, let's get a hold of Tiffany's father. Then they maintained a home together when I was 8 years old until my mother passed away some years later. I had both of my parents in the home, both of my parents in my life the whole time. And that's where my disconnect with all of this is going on. Because I don't have an experience with a terrible mother. I don't have an experience where my mother chose things and vices and shit over me. My father didn't either. I had a secure home life. I felt safe in my home. Nobody abused me in my home. And certainly CPS never, ever even knew my name. There was no reason for CPS to ever come around the Butler household. Now, let's fast forward back to me in the current situation. Michael spent all of this money to get this home. That's his home. His name is on it. Now, at some point, probably somewhere in the future, I will marry him. I will move into him. That will also be my home. But for right now, all intents and purposes, this is Michael home. He bought it. His name is on the deed. It's his. There's a car beside the little trailer. That's his car. Paid off. He don't owe no notes or nothing. It's his car. Inside, you open the door, you walk in the house. All of the furniture and furnishings, that's his. He paid for that. Now, here's the thing. I got dragged to the stores over and over. You know, every word out of Michael's mouth was, do you think my mom would like this, this couch set? You think my mom would like this washer and dryer? You think my mom would like this bed set? Now, keep in mind, everything that was purchased, he paid for that. I was just there as eye candy on his arm walking around, helping him make decisions because he wanted a feminine advice. He wanted a female's perspective on buying this stuff. But everything he was doing was to impress his mom, for his mother. And, I had no problem with that from my standpoint. Oh, That's nice. He's bringing his mom down. Excuse me. I fully expected that his mother was going to come down here. They were going to live happily ever after. Michael left at the start of August. August is not even over yet. Michael left at the start of August to drive up. Well, he flew up to Colorado and they drove back down because they had some of her belongings that I understood. I couldn't go because dialysis. But they got back home August 10th. For reference, today is August 20th, 2025. 10 days later. August 17th, 7 days after this birth giver, this person was brought into Michael's home. He's texting me. He's calling me. I want her to leave. I want her to go back. I can't have her in my house. Pardon? She's been there a week of what's supposed to be basically the rest of her life. And she's not that old. She's only 56 years old. Um, what do you mean she has to go back? This is her new home. Okay. So, Michael works a full-time job. He works up to 16 hours a day. And a lot of the times when he's working, I'm hands off because he's tired, he's occupied with his work. I may call him, I may send him a text, but I'm relatively hands off and not bothering him because I'm in my own place right now that you can see me sitting in. Michael says that this person is trying to boss him around and order him around in his own house. She's been here 7 days at this point, August 17th. She's nitpicking and bitching about everything. And you see, I'm not joking. I'm not being funny like I usually am in in my videos. I'm being dead serious. She's nagging him about, well, he needs to clean this, he needs to clean that. He's gone 16 hours of the day. You're there the whole time. She can't leave. She doesn't know her way around the town where he lives. I don't know my way around the town, so I'd be lost too. Okay, you're in this house. You see these things here. You're technically a guest at this point, still in this home. If you see something that you feel that strongly about, why couldn't you pick up the bag of trash and carry it outside? I mean, she could have even just sat it on the front porch so that he would notice it when he came in from work. If she couldn't find the dumpster, she couldn't reach the dumpster. She's complaining about he's doing this, he's doing that. Okay, and never mind that she's begging him for money. Keep in mind, he told me that he spent $13,000 of his own money for this whole venture, putting the furniture in the house, putting her ass in the house. And it's gotten to the point where they're arguing daily, and he's leaving his own house that he fucking owns. Keep that in mind. He's leaving his house that he owns and going to his buddy Kirby's house. Now, Kirby lives in some little subdivision of Houston. He's not coming here because he doesn't want to bother me because dialysis and all. Even though he is welcome here, but he doesn't want to bother me since I'm recovering with dialysis and all that sort of stuff. Um, so I asked him what is going on. She basically is wanting him. Keep in mind, he's working 16 hours a day, wanting him to wait on her like hand and foot, like a servant. Now, before we get into the whole thing about that, I had to wait on my mother hand and foot. My mother had no legs towards the end. So I was her legs. I had to do everything for her. But we also have to remember I grew up in a stable environment. My mother didn't abandon me. I didn't have the baggage of, oh, you abandoned me for damn near 10 years. I didn't have that. So for me, even though there were times I did not want to do the nursing crap for my mom, um, I did because I knew even I sat at 11 years old and thought to myself, well, if the shoe was on the other foot and I was the one that was so sick and everything, mom would drop everything to take care of me, which is a fact. That's not me guessing. That's not me wondering. That's a fucking fact. Because when I would get sick with stuff, my mother would literally drop everything and run to me, regardless if she was at work, if she was at church, if she was doing something else. Tiffany needs me right there. And here's the thing his mother had 5 knee replacement surgeries on the same knee. So yeah, I would believe that getting around is hard. Now see, even that influenced Michael's decision on his house. Because at one point we were looking at these beautiful two-story townhomes in town here. And the one we were so close to him buying, he said, I don't think I can buy it. And I said, why? I said, the house is absolutely beautiful. The neighborhood is nice. The people are nice. I said, why? He said he didn't think his mother could go up and down the that's my phone alarm. Couldn't go up and down the steps. Wow. So he didn't get that house. Another couple is in that house now. So that influenced him to not get that house because he was being considerate of his mother's needs. So back to the trailer. Mike then got upset. He's left and gone to his buddy's house. She was on Facebook before I blocked her because I'm not dealing with this bullshit and this foolishness. But before I blocked her, she said that Michael has abandoned me and run off and left me. She conveniently left out that she was left in a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom trailer house, you know, with food in the refrigerator, clean running water, ice maker, internet, TV hookups. It's basically like being at a hotel for her right now. The only thing is she doesn't have a vehicle to go anywhere. And even if she did, um, she doesn't know her way around the town. And here's another thing. Before his mother came, see, this is how she fucking herself out of a whole lot of stuff. Before his mother came, Michael was talking about he wanted to buy a brand new car for himself and give his current vehicle that he has now to his mother. So he was going to give her a fully paid off car. Yeah, it's a used car. Yeah, it's maybe 10 years old. Who gives a shit? It works. He was just going to give her this vehicle. So yeah, you can drive around, mom. And she's bitched herself out of that. So we have this going on. And she's on Facebook probably now playing the victim because now she's like, it's an emergency. I need to go back to Colorado. Me and my 2 cats help me. I can only wonder because she wasn't living by herself in Colorado. She was living with a cousin. And I'm just wondering, was she treating the cousin the same way that she's treating her son right now? And what really put me over the edge was at some point Mike's friend Kirby showed up. And Kirby walked into the house and said, "Hey, Miss whatever in the fuck her name is." Um Later on he told Michael that he got an evil vibe from this woman. This is his friend saying this about his mom. I got an evil vibe from your mom. Still later, while this is what pissed me off. While Kirby, his friend, was in the house, his mom cussed him out. Now keep in mind, this is less than a week. You're a guest in his house, technically. She called her son a jerk, an asshole, and a liar to his face in front of company. My mother only called me out of my name one time while we were together by ourselves. None of my friends were around. We weren't in front of company. And then immediately after she did that, she apologized. And I have no animosity because it was my fault why she yelled at me because I should have been paying attention to her and made a mess of something that I shouldn't have made a mess of. But you know what she was angry about? Eyeglasses. $80 eyeglasses. Now you remember I had my glasses made. Oh, this is the wrong box. I had my glasses made, right? There's a place in Beaumont called Stanton Optical. They have a special going on, I guess since it's near school starting. For $80, you get an eye exam and two pairs of glasses, which I think is really good because I did that. I have two pairs of glasses from Stanton Optical and a little special pair from Zelo. Um, and I saved over $500 on this deal doing that. So Michael at some point was supposed to get his mother these glasses. She's rushing him for these glasses. Now, the last time I saw her, she had a pair of glasses. She had glasses on. So you have a fully functional pair of glasses. You could have waited. Because when is Michael off from work? Today. And if she hadn't have been bitching and crying and whatever and going on, they likely could have gone to the eye place today. Why? Because Michael did the same thing because he has to wear his glasses while he drives the bus. And he did it. He has his glasses. I have my glasses. And, I was telling him, he said he was going to do it for his mother before our fallout. We fallen out over some fucking glasses. That's why she called him a jerk. That's why she called him an asshole. That's why she called him a liar. Was because he hadn't gone and gotten these damn glasses for her. Okay, you got to understand. He doesn't live in Beaumont right now. His home is in a town maybe 15, 20 minutes away from Beaumont. So he has to put her ass in his car, drive all the way to Beaumont to this place because it's right down the street from where I live. And I don't understand. He was going to get it. You didn't have to pay for anything. You just had to show your fat ass up and be there. And she's bitching about this because she's been trying to run his household and trying to run his money that he works for and earns himself the whole time. Now you notice I'm sitting here in the background. I haven't asked him for anything. I'm not entitled. See, that's the thing. I'm not entitled to shit. She's acting entitled and she ain't entitled to a goddamn thing. She's acting entitled to everything just because she gave birth 36 years ago. And he doesn't owe her anything at all, really. And now he between a rock and a hard place because this person will be leaving his house. She will be leaving. September 2nd, she's going back to Colorado. I just don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks because she's at his house. He doesn't want to go home. I told him, this is what I told him. And if y'all think I'm being cold or heartless, I'm just cold and heartless. I said, that's your home that you paid for. He's steadily paying the bills for it while he's not there. And she's there doing God knows what in his fucking house right now. And you're still paying the bills. You're still paying the water bill. You're paying the lights. You're paying all the utilities. You're paying the lot space for where the patch of land that your trailer is sitting on. Um, no, the way that I see that this should have been done, she should have been ousted from his house. She should have been put up. He's in a hotel right now instead of her. She should have been in somebody's hotel. She should have been in somebody's shelter or whatever for the next 2 weeks until she goes back where she came from. And then I found this funny. I made some comments on Facebook, kind of hinting at, hey, if you don't stop this bullshit, you're gonna be kicked out, which is what's happening right now. So she says some horse shit about, oh yeah, Michael is off with his gay boyfriend Kirby. Kirby is not gay. Kirby is a divorced man with custody of his 3 children. And Michael is not gay because if he was gay, would he be with me? So I thought that was kind of a low blow that you would say this publicly in the comments on Facebook about your son, one simultaneously talking about his sexuality in front of everybody where God and everybody can see it. Secondly, you're really trying to sabotage my relationship? No, I don't prescribe to that type of propaganda. You know why? I've been a Michael Jackson fan for 30 years. I have literally heard every lie imaginable regarding Michael Jackson. Everything from his sexuality to whatever plastic surgeries he may have had done to a whole bunch of other stuff that is absolutely not true. And to see somebody trying to do this to somebody I care about, that I foresee a future with, of course, um, you got to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over on Tiffany. And really? Because as soon as I saw it, I screenshotted it and sent it to Michael and was like, your birth giver is cutting up right now. She's doing the absolute most with the very least right now. And, I wanted to clear the air and get that off my chest. And, let y'all know what the hell is going on behind the scenes. That this woman basically came in, tried to take over what clearly is not hers. Nothing belongs to her other than her ass and the 2 cats she brought with her. 3 cats she brought with her. Um, I have not seen her the whole time she's been here. I have not seen her. And, I should have taken that as the first red flag where I was expecting Michael to say, "Hey, come over and, hang out with me and mom, or we're going out to eat. Come hang out with us." And he never extended that invitation to me to spend time with the two of them together. That says a lot because if my mother was still alive and my mother came from out of state to be here, Michael, come over here. Come see my mom. Come meet my mom. Let's go out to eat. Let's sit and talk and everything. That's how it would be if my mother was still alive. We would be at our favorite restaurant, which is Luby's. We would be at Luby's, sitting down, eating, talking, and having a good old time. How did y'all meet? How did y'all get together? What's the future looking like? Are y'all gonna get married? Are you gonna give me grandkids? That's the type of shit my mother would be talking about. Oh, how have you met? Oh, you work for the bus company. Just all that sort of normal type of shit that, you know, a potential spouse and potential mother-in-law would be having. That type of interaction. Your child's significant other and the parent. And No, all she's done is walk all over her son. Say she had the absolute gall to say at one point he didn't spend enough money on her. You didn't raise him. He didn't have to spend shit on you. He doesn't even have to try to be maintaining a relationship with you because your two daughters are like, fuck you, and they don't fuck with you. And, it's bothering me because I know it's bothering him. And he tried to do good. He tried to do the right thing. He tried to do what I assume he believes a son is supposed to do for his mother, as the man of the family. It's pitiful. It's pathetic. It's terrible to see this happening because everything Michael did came from a genuine place of wanting to care for his mother, wanting to look after her, wanting to provide for his mother, wanting to try to rebuild the relationship that he missed out on. And she has burnt that shit to the ground in a week. She's been here 10 days. She goes back home September 7th. September 2nd, she goes back home to stay there. She's not coming back here. Because I asked Michael, before all of this fell out, I said, we were looking forward to the holidays. Oh, the three of us are going to get together and we're going to cook for Thanksgiving. We're going to cook for Christmas. We're going to have a grand old time. We're going to decorate the tree. We're going to do all of this. And I honestly believed all of this was going to happen this year with his mother a part of the festivities. And I asked him last night, I said, well, what happens with Thanksgiving and with Christmas? Or is that going to happen now? He's like, yeah, we're still going to have Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's just doubtful that the birth giver will be there. And it's just incredible. Like, I mean, I've seen stuff where people have been brought into somebody's home and they were out there welcome after an amount of time, several months, maybe a year. I've never seen anybody just completely annihilate that bridge in 7 days. Like, I am just amazed at this. And I told my friend that I was chatting with about this last night. I said, she's not gonna be happy until she's homeless. Because okay, you got your two daughters have turned their backs on you. They don't want shit to do with you. Your son is in the process of turning his back right now. Don't look at me because I'm with your son. You got no place here, honey. Um, whoever she's living with, they can put her out at any time because those people own their home that she was staying in. She has no home. She has no apartment. She has no home. She has no place to stay. It's just her and them fucking cats out of the kindness of people's hearts. And she can't see that. She's fucking up, severing ties, and doing everything. Because literally, Michael used to tell me when, I'm saying that like we've been together like for decades and stuff. We've only been together for 2 years. But he's like, he was always saying, well, Tiff, I'd like for us to get married. We're probably still going to get married. But he's like, I'd like for us to get married. And, I want my mother to see me get married. I want us to be able to give my mother a grandchild. With the way it currently stands, yes, I still do want to get married. Yes, I still do want to be a mother and have a child. But I will personally go to a fucking lawyer and get a restraining order to keep her away from any child or children I would have with Michael. I do not want her anywhere near anything that calls me mother, calls me mommy. I don't want her to see them. I don't want her to even know their name. Because if you're treating your son that you birthed yourself this way, I want you to have absolutely no relationship with me. I want no relationship with you. And any future child or children that we may have or adopt, I don't want them to even know who you are. No, no, absolutely not. Because you're not about to come and try to manipulate your way around me, around your son, or around any prospective grandkids that may come about. Because you've shown me that you are not trustworthy, that you are mean and spiteful and vindictive and entitled, where you have absolutely no entitlement or right to anything whatsoever. And whether she sees this video or not, I could barely give a fuck. I can't find a fuck to give. But here's where it stands. I'm 39 years old. Both of my parents are dead and buried. What is the only complaint you've ever heard me say about my mom? She didn't take me to see Michael Jackson. That's it. That's the only fucking complaint I have. My mother didn't take me to see a concert that I wanted to see when I was 15 years old. Ooh. You don't ever hear me ever say, "Oh, my mother abandoned me. My mother left me. My mother let a guy stamp out a cigarette in the middle of my forehead." This happened to Michael, by the way. That's why he was placed in foster care. Because whoever the guy was his mom was sleeping with, not Michael's father, mind you, um, whoever she was fucking, thought it was a good idea to stamp out the cigarette into her 12-year-old son's forehead and send him to school with the burn mark on his head. I I typically refrain from calling people trash, a trashy. This woman is grade A, certified, bona fide trash in my eyes. And you can't change my thoughts about that. You can't change my beliefs about that because your track record is too fucking bad. You chose substances, because I'm putting this on YouTube. You chose substances over your children. Let your children be taken away. Keep in mind, y'all were living in a car at this time. Y'all didn't have a home. You were living out of a fucking car. Your kids were starving, but you had to have substances. And, you let your kids be torn apart. The three kids did not go into the same foster home, from what I can tell. I don't know if the two girls were kept together, but Michael was separated from his sisters. So he didn't even grow up with his sisters. And, you know, you robbed your kid of having the bonds with his siblings that he should have had. You robbed your kid of the motherly and son bond that he should have had. His father was not in the picture. Um, I don't blame his father in any of this because his father isn't trying to insinuate himself into his son's life right now. His father is wherever his father is, and you know, that's where his father is. But, you know, the mother should have done the mother thing, and she didn't. And to come back and not have to pay anything, I mean, think about all that he has given her. He gave her, he brought her here, gave her a room in his house, a furnished room. She didn't even have to go buy the furniture, furnished the room for her, gave her a spot for her and her damn cats. There's food. You can eat what you want. You can cook what you want. Water, sodas, everything. There's a TV. You can watch the TV. You can enjoy the TV. Lou, there's internet. You can use my internet and watch my Netflix and do this and everything. And you pissed that away. You were mad because your son, a man, had a slightly messy house. Men are messy. That's why a lot of them have girlfriends and wives. um, but you shouldn't have said, what I got from this was I never saw appreciation. I never saw gratitude. I asked Michael that. I said, did she ever say thank you? Did she ever show appreciation and gratitude? He said no. He was quiet for a long time and then he said no. And I grew up in an environment where thank you and please and everything was commonplace. Like I said, I took care of my mother, but every time she needed something, Tiff, will you bring me a soda, please? Tiff, will you get me something to eat, please? Tiff, I need the bedpan, please. Tiff, it's bath time. Could you bring me, my bath water and stuff, please? And if I help her with whatever, thank you. Here's your soda, Mom. Thank you, Tiff. Here's your food, Mom. Thank you, Tiff. Could you bring me something else? Oh, sure. Yes, ma'am. My mother showed gratitude for everything that I did for her. Even if, like, if we were in the hospital, if she was at the hospital, Tiff, will you run and get me a candy bar? 75-cent Snicker bar. Thank you, Tiff. Will you run and get me whatever? Here's the change, please. Or if I spin it, thank you for buying that for me. The littlest shit my mother was grateful for and thankful for. And she was the same way with my father. If she told my dad to do something, Harold, take this out, please. You did it? Thank you. Just that's just the environment I was raised in. I say please and thank you to everybody. And, it's weird to me. It's such a foreign concept to me that a mother is not being motherly. It's like I know that these types of people exist, but that's on TV. That's in books. That's far away removed from what Tiffany knows and what Tiffany is around. And to have it happening to possibly one of the most important people to me, my boyfriend, baffles me. But I do know one thing. If this woman is out of my life, she's dead to me. I have blocked her. She's dead to me. Carmen Weaver, you're dead to me. Rest in pieces, because you're dead to me. And like I said, should I get blessed with a child and or children, I will be Rita part two. I will be exactly like my mother and raise my child knowing what love and kindness and support and tenderness and all of that shit that a mother is supposed to do is like. Because I don't want my kid to be damn near 40, upset that, you know, their mother was not there the way that she should have been, that their mother didn't take care of them the way that they should have been taken care of. Because here's the thing about kids, no child in history has ever asked to be here, no child has ever asked to be born. Every birth is a decision. And once you have your child, that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. You're supposed to tend to these children look after them, raise them, and protect them, and everything like that. And my mom did that. Carmen Weaver did not. And that's horrible to me that she didn't do the motherly thing, but feels entitled to being treated how a caring, loving, giving mother should be treated, even though she did none of that to receive that. And I still have to get up and go get ready to leave because I got errands to run for today and things to do today that don't concern this. But I needed to get this shit off of my chest. Yes, it's 45 minutes. I apologize for the length. But I had to hash all of this out, get this off my chest. And like I said, regardless if she sees this or not, I don't give a fuck. If she does, good. If she don't, good, right on. But I need everybody who's, seeing getting whiplash from what's going on to know the full story and full extent of what's going on. And I'm still leaving out the worst bits of it for Michael's privacy. I'm leaving the worst bits of out. But yeah, whatever happens to her after she gets back to Colorado, that's between her and her God. Because I know the Lord can't possibly be happy and pleased with what she's doing. She's not a godly person. And I'm not trying to be preachy or nothing like that because when the hell was the last time I went to church? But I just feel like there are certain ways that a mother should conduct herself in regards to her children. And I'm not seeing that anything whatsoever. And I have to go. But that's my take on this whole thing. And it's ridiculous and uncalled for. And for this to be a old ass, grown ass woman doing this, trying to be manipulative, trying to play victim, being a narcissist, perfect example of a narcissist, is baffling. But you know what? She may have gotten over on Mike. She may have hoodwinked Michael for a second. But you got me, and I don't play those games. I don't believe in that shit. And to be so incredibly ungrateful and so incredibly demanding on a man who was only wanting the best between y'all, the best result, her spending her final years with her son, which, trust me, her time is limited, her time is short, because I'm sure she's breaking some kind of commandments. And her health is shit. And for me to be saying that as a dialysis patient for 16 years, that says a lot. But yeah, her health is fucking shit. And whenever her time comes, I assume she's going to be alone or in a room full of medical staff who are strangers. She's not going to have her son by her side. She's not going to have her daughters by her side. I definitely, well, yeah, I will be there because I want to watch and be like, I told you so is the last fucking thing she hears as she slips into oblivion. But, hmm she gonna have plenty of time by herself to think about what she's done and what she should have done. Okay, and I'm really signing off now. But if you still have your mothers in your life and your mother was a good mother, call her, text her, give her a hug or something. Because not everybody is that fortunate to have had a good influence and good upbringing. And the thing is, in spite of that, Michael still has carved out a good life for himself. A lot of people ain't that lucky.